Recording. Hi, everybody. I am Tom Pompey, and I'm a 3-star instructor with Pirelli Natural Horsemanship. And tonight we're going to be talking about the 10-meter circle and why it's important and why it's such a big deal, and a great little exercise to help it that Pat has taught at a lot of his master classes. And we're also going to be chatting a bit with Veronica. Hi, Veronica. And Veronica is going to answer the question. I'm going to put her on the spot. No, I'm not. But we're going to talk about the left brain extrovert, a couple of horses that Veronica and I had the opportunity to play with the past couple of days. So in particular, like how do you deal with a left brain extrovert on Stick to Me that's trying to kill you? And how do you deal with a left brain extrovert that just would really rather bite you than and knock you with your shoulder than do much of anything else? So so that's gonna be fun. I had a really good time with that. So so we're gonna jump right on ahead to it. First of all, does anybody have any burning questions that you want to make sure we get to? Anything you want to say before we launch in? Cool. I got a quick commercial. We've got a few more clinics here at H&P this weekend. Starting tomorrow's check-in, we have a Prepare for the Trail clinic, and there's a couple openings for that. So if you're interested, come on down. And also there's a really cool horsenality clinic, and that's another favorite of mine for the season, because we really delve deep into horsenality and how that works. And then there's another weekend that we have. It's called Advancing Levels, and that is it's more of a play day. It's non-teaching time, but everybody comes and we can video each other, play with the obstacles here, work on advancing your levels basically. And I'll be here for private lessons if you want, or if you have a quick question, I can of course set you up for success on that. So that's a 2-day clinic. No, it's a 2-day event. Saturday, Sunday, come for as much or as little as you want for it. Some people are coming from out of town and staying the weekend. That's great. It's only $150 for the whole thing, which is great. And then if you happen to have done a clinic here at H&P this season, you get half off. So it's only $75. So that's kind of a nice kind of end the season kind of deal. And then it looks like the East Fork clinic is back on. So I'm super excited about that. East Fork, Tennessee. It's the last week in October. All the information's on the website for that. That's going to be a level 1-2 on a Wednesday, Thursday, and a level 3-4 on a Friday, Saturday. And Spook and Survive event at the end of that, which is a cool little obstacle challenge. And don't worry, we're going to do it the Pirelli way. We're not just going to try to scare the crap out of your horses. We're going to have, it's going to be really to help your horse gain confidence with obstacles. And there might be a little prize if you dress up with you and your horse. I don't know. And also East Fork is going to have some kind of event that evening too for Halloween. So it could be a lot of fun. It's great campgrounds, great hangout, and Mike and I are going to go down and spend a few extra days and do some trail riding down there. But the clinic also comes with a semi-private on the trail lesson. So not only do you get your full clinic for 2 days, but then on another time you get a semi-private lesson out with a Pirelli professional out on the trail. So it's a really good setup. All the details on tompompey.com. Oh, yeah, one more promo. There's this guy named Pat Pirelli, and he's pretty good. And he is going to be doing a virtual clinic in October. It starts October 2nd, and there's a few spots left. Last I heard, they had sold out 70% of the clinic, 30% of the spots are left. And I just finished a version of that with Linda Pirelli, and she's pretty good too. It was a 3-week on Liberty, and some of you did that, and it was really, really good and very intelligent and smart the way it was set up. Molly Sanders is a 3-star instructor, and she's doing the tech behind it, and it's real neat because it's set up into 3 weeks, and each week has maybe 6 or 8 lessons that are short video lessons and a little bit of theory, and you can go out and practice it with your horse. And each week has a Zoom meeting like this with Pat and the assisting instructors for the clinic. And then there's also a Facebook group that's set up that you can ask questions, post little videos of yourself, introduce yourselves to everybody, and it's just really smartly set up. And you get after you can go at your own pace, of course, and if you don't finish like everything that week, it's okay, because they'll leave it up and you'll have access to it for several weeks afterwards also. And I just found out I'm one of the assisting instructors, so come on, jump in the pool. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm really super excited about that. I just found out today. So it's going to be a really good setup. I'm very excited, especially when I see what we're able to do by making lemons out of lemonade with this virtual lesson kind of deal. And I think it's really improving the way that we deliver content, and I'm excited about that. So come do it with me. It's going to be fun. All right. So 10-meter circles. So a question came up the last Zoom about the 10-meter circle. I think Shakya first asked it, but it has come up a couple of times. And the question I have for you all, and you can write it, you can answer it in the chat window, is why do dressage folks especially really focus on 10-meter and 20-meter circles? So why do you think that's an important thing in horsemanship? And I've noticed the really good horsemen, Western or English, can ride a very, very good circle. I remember Pat Pirelli challenged us once, and he said, let me see your circle. And he looked at our circles and he said, I think I may have done more circles than you guys. And he was right. So his circle looked pretty good. So self-carriage and bend is a really good answer. Yield and relaxation, excellent answer. There's a whole bunch of right answers. I mean, they're all right answers, right? There's a whole bunch of reasons that circle, doing circles with horses is important. So yielding is really, really important. Yielding and relaxation, self-carriage and bend. And these are all things that gymnasticize a horse and keep them healthier. So I teased a group, another Zoom meeting that we had with a different group a couple weeks ago, and I said, we're going to talk about 10-meter circles. And when I learned this exercise, my farrier noticed. She's a natural trimmer, and she did one horse, and she goes, that's odd. All 4 hooves have worn exactly evenly. I never see that. She went on to our next horse, and she said, that's really odd. What are you doing? And then I showed her the arena, and the arena looked like a bunch of crop circles, because I had just really learned this exercise, and I had set up a way that I could make 10-meter circles, and there were 10-meter circles all over the arena, and we've been practicing them a lot. And so that really kind of drove it home to me how important it is to have a balanced horse, and what that means. And I thought that was really great. There's a whole lot of stuff that gets better with this particular exercise. So there's a lot of ways to ride a circle, obviously, but this one I wanted to share with you is really good. So everybody repeat after me. And that little devil, Pat Pirelli, he changed it on us at the if you happen to see the summit, the virtual summit, which they didn't call virtual summit, they called it the virtual, what'd they call it? Did anybody remember? The virtual horse party, or it was great what it was, but it was in replacement of summit, but it was done virtually and live. And Pat changed it, and I thought it was great because he said lock it. So everybody say that, lock it. And when you lock it, you take your elbow and you put it right in your ribs, just like that. Lock it. So Shakya is our guest student today, and you'll see on her video that she did a really good job locking her elbow. And then another frame later, she looked like that. And I just thought, oh, I got to make sure I tell Shakya to lock that. And then I took a video tonight of me doing the exercise. We were just on a whim, and I'll tell you later about that. But I looked at the video and I went, oh, look, I look really good. And then 2 frames later, oh, look. So lock it. So lock it, lift it, and that looks like this. Lock it, lift it, look, leg, and then let go. Okay, so lock it, lift, look, leg, let go. Okay, so that's 5 things, isn't it? Lock it, lift it, look, leg, let go. Yeah, I know, Shaka. Shaka typed it. It's so hard. It is because it's kind of a muscle memory thing too that gets you. So again, everybody just practice that and go up and down like this. Just kind of while you're sitting in your chair, just kind of go up and down like that. And notice that your thumb is up and your thumb is pointed right at your horse's right between your horse's ears. So just practice that as if you're riding your horse there while you're sitting there at the video. Practice going up and down. And kind of a way to make sure that you're playing a little bit, you can tell I'm a musician, that you're a little bit soft with this is put a little bit more on your back fingers and a little bit less pressure on your thumb. Still, you'll be holding the rein there, but you'll still hold it. But don't think of squeezing real tight here. Still hold it, but a little more pressure on your back 2 fingers, and that'll give you a little bit more of a feel on it. So lock it, lift it, look where you want to go, apply a leg, and then when your horse goes where you want on this exercise, just bring it straight back down. All right, so the idea of this is to ride a perfect circle, but it turns into a game. And the game is if you're straight on, I'm talking to my horse now, horsey, if you're straight on the circle, I'm letting go. And it's up to you to maintain straightness on the circle. So on a 10-meter circle, if you're straight on the circle, you have about that much body bend, if that's your head and that's your tail. And it looks really great. I'm trying to line that up with the camera. There we go, that much body bend. Okay, in a 20-meter circle, you get about that much. So 10-meter circle, that much, 20-meter, that much. Okay, 10-meter, 6-meter. So this is the reason for all of this, because if before I did this exercise, my circles looked a little egg-shaped. So my horse would hold it for a few steps, and they would flatten out, and they would go back and hold it, and then flatten out maybe. Or maybe I lost where the circle was. So that's no bueno. That's no good. We want them to hold that the whole way around the circle, so it's a perfect circle, not looking like that. So I probably should have made some pictures of our arena, but in our arena, so if this little box that I'm in right here is an arena, and right there my nose is X. So right over here on the arena, I have a blue piece of tape. And then right over here on the arena, I have a blue piece of tape. And over here on the arena, a blue piece of tape. And over here, a blue, right there, a blue piece of tape. This is really weird. So then 5 meters from that piece of tape, I have a white piece of tape. 5 more meters, a blue piece of tape. 5 more meters, a white piece of tape. 5 more meters, a blue piece of tape. And then starting here also. And it goes both ways, that way and that way. Then over here, that blue piece of tape that was lined up with X, there's a blue marking, a white marking 5 meters over, a blue marking 5 meters over, and so on. And then here, so on, and then here, so on. So I have a grid in the arena. So if I'm riding right here, does that make sense to everybody? Like if you were looking down on the arena right now. So if my nose is X, I'm going to ride right over to here. I'm going to look for that piece of tape that's over there and that piece of tape that's over there. And I'm going to look and see right where those 2 pieces of tape intersect. And it's right on that grain of sand right there. So I'm riding from X to that grain of sand. And then I'm going to look around over here and I'm going to see that blue piece of tape lined up with that blue piece of tape way over there and that other piece of tape right here. And that's where they intersect that grain of sand. So I'm here, now I'm here, now I'm here, and then I'm going to look for that piece of tape down there and where it intersects with this piece of tape right there as I come around to that mark and then back over to X. So as I'm riding in the arena, I got my head up, I hope, and I'm looking to see where those intersections are on those pieces of tape, and I can make a perfect, and I mean hopefully perfect, round 10-meter circle. I can make another one over here, Then I can move over, I can make another one over here in that arena, and I can almost make another one here, but I run out of arena depending on how long my arena is. So in our arena where we did a recording, you can do 10-meter circles, but if you go to do a 20-meter circle, I don't have enough room on my arena. It's not wide enough. But we could go to my outdoor arena and you'll see the same markings out there. And we can do 20-meter circle here, 20-meter circle here. We do a 10-meter circle here. We can do a 10, a 10, a 10, another 10, another 10, another, oh, there's another 10 right here. You can start to get playful when you see how those intersections happen. So that's how I know I'm doing a perfect 10-meter circle. When we watched Shakya's tape, she taped it out and had some cones out, and I'll ask her too how she did it, but I think she kind of just taped it out, marked it out, and followed the tracks, and that works really well too. This works well as well because you keep your head up and you can watch those tape marks. And then if you're ever interested in cowboy dressage, this is how the arena is set up in cowboy dressage also, that you have to go do a 10-meter circle where these points intersect and blah, 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 blah. So it's not horribly complicated, but it is a little bit weird when you're up on there. But what I discovered is when I was doing that, it doesn't feel like a circle, but it is. I measured it twice. I measured my tape marks. It's like I get on this part of it and I'm like, I would swear, I would bet money that my circle ought to come down farther, but nope, it's right there. And then when I looked at it from overhead, it's like, oh, that looks very even, looks very nice. So it surprises you what your perception of a good circle is versus the reality of that. If you don't have a facility where you can put up those tape marks, you can set out cones and get a tape measure and measure it out. You just have to figure out how many feet there are in a meter. I think it's 3.3 something. Don't quote me on that, but you can look that up and figure it out. You can ask Siri, hey Siri, how many feet in a meter? And do some math. Cool. All right, so that's what's happening when you see that 10-meter circle, and as soon as your horse gets off the 10-meter circle, that's the moment where they've bent or flattened out, or they're not, you know what I mean by straight on a circle, that they have that shape. That's good. That means they're right on the circle. And if they flatten out, they're going to go to the outside of the circle. So here's what happens with this lock, look, lift, leg, like this lock, lift, look, leg, let go idea. So you're right here, eh? And say your horse flattens out a bit and goes to the outside of the 10-meter circle. So what you're going to do is lock your inside elbow, your reins are on the inside, and you're going to lift, look where you want to be, and then you're going to only use inside leg. And if your horse came to the outside of the circle, you'll use inside leg on the hindquarters and bring them back to the circle. And if they fall in, like drop their shoulder in, whoops, you're gonna lock again, lift, look, and put your leg in the front of the horse and bring the front end or shoulders back onto the circle. And there's a really strong reason to use all inside leg. And it's a pitfall to use your outside leg on this exercise. The reason you use an inside leg is it shapes your horse. It gets them nice and rounded. If you use an outside leg, which I wanted to desperately, and I caught myself on my video doing it. I stopped right away though. So I wanted to use an outside leg and say, don't come out. Well, if you do that, then you get your horse encouraged to do this bend, and that's the opposite of what you wanted on the circle. So on this exercise, you wouldn't hold your horse in place with an outside leg or an outside rein. You would make them responsible for keeping it shaped. And then guess what? When they're on it, you let go and say, horsey, you are now responsible. Oh no, they fell in. Lift, look, leg, let go. So you'll see that in the videos, and we've got lots of examples of those coming right up. Is that making any sense? It's simple, but it's kind of like a lot going on. And I want to show you, before we see it, I'm going to move over to the video in a moment and show you Shakya's hand position, which is outstanding. So you can see that when you have the reins in a California roll and your thumb is up and pointed forward towards your horse's ears, it actually does shorten the inside rein because you're not holding like that, you're holding like that, which has the effect of shortening that inside rein. So notice when we do it, it's inside leg and inside rein only on this exercise. All right, you ready to see it? Hi, Shakya. Shakya, thank you for being our sample student. It's very brave of you. And as we do these, I'm always looking for volunteers to do it. So Shakya sent me a first video. I gave her a little bit of touching up and say, to put your hand in this way, move that way a little bit. And she redid it, and it was really, really good, except her reins were in the wrong hand. So she fixed it again. So good on you. Thank you for fixing that, because it was so much better the second time, but it was backwards because of the rein. So it even got better on the third video. So thank you, Shakya. So you'll all get to see that in a second. So I'm going to blast this over to that. What should happen now is that should be spotlight video for everybody. I think that worked. Let's see, Tom, co-host, more. I think I did it already. Oh, yep, it's on spotlight video. So if you were on speaker view, you should see that rather largely now. And that's just coming from my computer onto a screen, high tech. Is my hat wrong, Mike?
Somebody wanted to know what was sticking off your hat.
Oh, you guys are awesome. Because my hat was hanging upside down, and it's the thing. Okay, so this is Shakya and Grace, and another kudos to both of them, because Grace just had some dental work done and a tooth or two removed, and so that's why Shakya's riding in the halter. This exercise does work better with a bit, but that wasn't fair to put that bit inside this horse's mouth for this video. So good on Shakya. So if you look real close, look at that elbow locked in beautifully. There's that big arrow on it. And then look at that hand position. It's really, really good. Fantastic. And then when she lets go, that white X is where she would put it. And when she lifts, she should lift a little higher. So I just caught her mid-frame here so I could put the X's in, I think. So when she lifts, she's going to lift straight up. And when she lets go, she's going to go straight down. There's no in between. And so so if you look at my hand, like sometimes we want to go like that or just start managing and micromanaging our horse. This is a game that is to help the horse discover it. We want the horse to find it. So micromanagers, beware. This is going to drive you nuts at first, possibly. And so I want to show you this video here a little bit. There's Shakya, there's the big video. And let's see, where's my notes? Because I wanted to share some really good moments on this. The first one I want to show you is when Shakya did a really good forequarter. So the horse fell in with the shoulders, and then you'll see Shakya lift, look, put her leg in to raise the shoulder back to the circle. And that happens at 2 minutes and 52 seconds in. Here we go. Oh, look how fast she's going. Oh my God. 2 minutes and 49 is good enough. So I don't know if you could see that on the camera, but that shoulder just picked up. It was great. Okay, it happens again at 8 minutes. So I'm going to zip over to 8 minutes so you can see it the other direction. And there it is at 8 minutes. I'll back that up a second so you can see it as it goes by the camera. It's coming up as she comes around. Right there. So it was a great let go right there, Shakya, by the way. So a couple of notes I have for you, Shakya, is when you lift, sometimes your palm comes up, but so lift just straight up.
And then watch the horse's legs, y'all. When that comes around again, you'll see that Grace steps it over.
Grace is a little under impulsed here, but that's not bad. Lifts it up. Good. And now let me show you the hindquarter yields that were on here. One was at 518. So if the horse falls in the circle, you want the front end to come up. And if they go wide to the outside, then you want to talk to the hiney and the hindquarter and steer that around. So that was a really good example. Did y'all see that? Let's see that again. Watch. First, I'm going to play this a couple times. First, watch Shakya. She's going to lift. She looks where she wants to go. She's going to put her back leg on. You'll see her toe come out, and you'll see that leg step right back to where it belongs and get it steered back to her circle. See it? Brilliant. And she lets go. And there it is again. Really nice. And did you hear the horse go? So something happens really great on a circle. Nobody said it. No, somebody said relaxation. Yep. So when you get the horse bending through their body, that's when they'll start to relax and breathe. And so you'll often see that blow right after that. And let's see one more of these. 953 was really good too. Right towards the end. Excellent. So the only notes I have for Shakya, besides all those compliments, is just when you let go, keep your thumb pointed straight forward instead of letting it flop or turn that way. So it should only just go up and down, like you have a hammer in your hand. Maybe that's not a good analogy with a horse. And I caught you with your elbow there. Your elbow should stay tucked. But when you watch my video, you'll see once in a while my elbow came forward too. I'm like, oh, get that elbow in there. Your horse is a little under impulsed, but it's a hard surface she's on, and I know you're working a lot with her with some lameness issues too. We talked about the bit. Leg positions. Your leg positions are really good, Shakya. But I wanted to define this for everybody because sometimes it's hard to see. So Shakya is an excellent example of this. Oops, wrong button. I want you to see these leg positions. There are lots of different positions that your legs could go in, everybody. And if you don't know that, this is going to be huge. One of them is at C. So you see Shakya's leg position right there at C. That's, if you cue there, that means side pass with one leg, or leg yield with one leg, or sideways motion, okay? Half pass. It can also mean go faster if you apply both legs, but more on that in a different webinar. So now when you want to talk to the rear end of the horse, your leg should come back to section D. We've got A, B, C, D, and E. So it should come back a little bit for D when you're talking to the hind end of the horse, and it should come forward a little bit when you're talking to the front end of the horse. So my comment to you, Shakya, was when you're asking the front end over, you could bring your foot forward just to be a little bit. Notice it's still behind the cinch. And you'll notice on my video, my horse decided that she'd rather be with the herd than move her hindquarter. And so I took my leg all the way back here to E to really exaggerate it. And you can also bring your leg when you're teaching a horse, especially all the way up here to A to exaggerate. Now, A and E kind of mess up with your riding position pretty badly, but it's an exaggerate to teach situation. So normally you're playing up in here. And then if your horse isn't responsive, play with it a little bit. Move it a couple of hairs back or a couple of hairs forward. Or, you'll find where it's effective. And then Shakya did a really good job, although I caught her using an outside leg here. I think she was asking the horse to go faster here, not really cueing with this outside leg. But the first step is to tighten your toe when you're using your leg cue. The second step is to turn your toe out.
The third step is to lower your toe down, and that would engage the spur.
Okay, so you can start to use your legs in a way that's kind of a little more artful like that. So on all those little positions in there. And I remember I was like, Pat kept telling me, press it B, press it B. And I said, I am. He goes, well, press somewhere slightly else and see if it's better. Experiment. And all I needed, and it turns out I was pressing on the cinch. So my horse was like, well, what's that? So I just needed to back it a little bit. And all of a sudden it was like, oh, that's magic. It works great. So just be aware of those leg cues. Those leg positions are pretty powerful. So Shakya, can I ask you to, I'm going to cancel that spotlight video, and this really messes up my gallery view, and that's back to where I expected it. So Shakya, would you like to share anything about what that felt like as, especially on this video compared to how it felt before? And if you want to unmute yourself, or I can unmute you, Shakya. Hi.
Yeah, I'm unmuted. Hi. What really helped was the lock, but it's knowing it and doing it is a big difference.
Yeah.
So every time I was like, I did it again. I moved forward again. So, but the lock that like really sit in my ribs. You told me set it in your ribs. That really helped. And then the thumb up, that really helped. I forgot about the location, left and right, inside, always inside. So that helped. Those were the two major ones. And then the lift, look, lift, left, lift, look, leg, let go.
Got it.
Yeah. That was what I was practicing on. And then when you gave me those extra things, then I really was able to do it. But I just need tons and tons of wet saddle pads, because it's not something that happens overnight with my horse.
Yeah.
But she has moments. So that get better.
Yeah, what I remember when Pat first taught this to us, I was horrible. I mean, Peaches just hated it. She was like, ugh, especially one way. Like she hated going to the left on the 10-meter circle. And I just thought, she's just physically tight with that. So I kind of did more, I didn't make a thing of it. I'm like, you know what? It's okay. Let's go over there and do a 20-meter circle. She was way better on the 20-meter circle. And then when she got good on the 20-meter circle, then I came back to the 10-meter circle. And then after, I didn't drill it, but I repeated it a lot, lots of sessions. So like, 5-7 minutes of that. And then, next session, do it again. So multiple sessions, like you said, was really important. It doesn't happen overnight. You're right. It's the fun part of it though, is when they get the game, because when they start to do self-carriage on this, it's really cool. You can actually fold your arms and you can test it. So you're very close to it. When you can make a whole lap with no corrections and not having to lift, you can put the reins down and fold your arms, and you are still allowed to use your leg, only inside leg, and you can test it and see if you can do it without the reins at all.
Yeah, and then I also learned to go faster in my lift, look, leg, let go, quickly,
Mm-hmm.
like make it quicker. So otherwise, if I did it too slow, she was going away from the circle or too close to the middle. So if I go faster, like once she got what I was gonna do, what she knew what to expect, what was next, she would fix herself quicker. And then I had to go from one step to the next quicker to give her like a quick release and a quick correction and a quick
sooner. Sooner, right? Don't let her be wrong. As soon as she's off the line, whoop,
right,
lift, look, leg.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing Pat out on the trail, and he does this without even thinking it. And he's out on the trail, and I saw him lift, fix something, boom, lift, fix something, boom, lift, fix something, boom, like 80 times. I'm like, we're on a trail ride, man. Well, his horse wasn't following his focus. So y'all need to ride with him. If he does a master class, sign up, because he's amazing to be around, and you'll improve just being around him. But he has this focus about him that is like very far reaching. and I know his horses feel it, but he's got this focus and we're going over here. And if his horse goes off over that way, that will, and he lifts and lets the horse runs into his leg and fixes it and let's go. And it's such a natural, normal thing for him. I don't think he's even conscious he's doing it half the time. And then if you get a chance to study Linda Pirelli's precision box riding, that's the same kind of idea. It's like your horse should be in the box that you've created with all your headlights and be comfortable in that box. And then this is a really necessary prerequisite game that we're playing here for Western or English. It's not Western, it's not English. It's just really good yielding under the saddle. And then your horse has a responsibility here. Don't lean on pressure. It's the porcupine game. Don't lean on pressure. So if they fall off that circle, they should have fallen into one of our legs or something. That's why that lift works so great. Lift, look, leg, like that. Excellent. Does anybody have any questions so far besides what's on your hat? So this is the band here, and it ties, but we have a hat rack in our horse trailer, and I was just traveling, and it kind of like stayed up like that. I don't know what's going on there, but maybe I need to iron it. All right. So now let's pick apart Tom. So I'll make the spotlight video again. Just a little tech thing I do here. Spotlight video. Boom. My shotgun. So not making any excuses, but I haven't ridden this horse in 3 weeks, and I've been doing a bit of traveling, and I'm just really proud of her because I just went and grabbed her out of the field and slapped the saddle on with no warm up. And you know, I did do 3 cinchings. I didn't really slap the saddle on, but she was pretty cold when we started. But so I wanted to show a couple things. First on the right-hand side at 1 minute and 4 seconds in, and Mike did a really good job on the video. He was up in the hayloft, and so you can really start to see when she's shaping and when she's not. So I think my reins are a little bit long, and I'm about to shorten them. There are a lot of corrections going on. She keeps falling to the outside. So there I am shortening up the rein. I like it because she doesn't like when I lift. There, that looks really nice right there for few strides. Okay, then coming up, I'm going to test it. Now, watch my leg because I'm using lots of outside leg there. So that's a really good moment. There's my line. And she went right to the outside. And now look at my leg. I'm about to put the spur on. The spur's actually not on yet. As soon as I put my toe down, it's going to be there. And I feel like I'm reaching way far back. I could even be back farther to exaggerate if I needed to. But there's the line she should be on. So she's way to the outside. Let's see what I do. There, she fixed it. Now she'll probably fall in here. Nope, she's still to the outside. See what happens again coming around. Oh, better. She's still a little bit to the outside. I can tell by my leg. Now she's to the inside. You see my leg working all those positions? There she is to the outside again. So I think I tested it also at the canter here. Let's see what happened. It's not an easy thing to canter a 10-meter circle for her, but that's okay. So I'd like to see my elbow tucked a little tighter. And there she just blew, which was nice. That was not too shabby. Looks like I'm going to test it maybe. Nope. I'm going to change directions. All right, so to the left, see if we can see what happens there. See if you can see what I see as I'm correcting here a little bit. She's probably going to the outside there a little. Oh, no, it's pretty right on. There, she's to the outside a little. But you can start to see her body shape's a little bit better now. She's starting to warm up into it. There, I'm testing it. Look how far to the outside she went. That was a really good example right there. You could see, let's go backwards. That's pretty talented, trotting your horse backwards. You can see she's quite off the line there, yes? So right here, my leg's back, my toes coming out. And there, she swings that butt over and gets back on the line. Look how far out she is again. See what happens around this corner. Well, a little bit better. She's having trouble maintaining gait. And I think I tested the canter next. Let's check that out. 705. There she is to the outside. Did you notice my leg was not effective there? But if we go back, you'll see that my leg is just right into the, in fact, I'm wondering why it's not working. And if you look, my leg is right on one of the cinches. That's why it's not working. So I'm asking that hind quarter and it's not going anywhere. And I'm like, why is that not effective? In fact, you'll watch my hands here. I'm going, dude, get over there. And my leg, hopefully I'll figure it out and get my leg just a little bit farther back or just experiment with it so it can get effective. That's why it wasn't effective. I'm like gonna run into the wall. Yep, Tom figured it out. There, now he really figured it out. It looks like I went back to my reins because it was like, this is not going well. I'm really not on it. Now I'm on it nicely. That's lovely right there. Smart horseman would stop right about there. But Tom went one more lap. All right, good job, Peach. Let's see, how do I cancel out of that? Not make that screen that way anymore. I don't know how to do it more. And withdraw spotlight video. Boom. All right. You have any questions about that, or what did you guys see that I didn't see, or what was good, what was bad, what was awesome, what was like, what was that?
How does she? How did you manage to get her nose inwards? Like she seems to be. Is that just happening when you do it a lot? Like naturally, is she seeking that?
Yeah, great question. So, why was her nose tipped inward? And I'm glad you asked that because she's a horse that's very tough for her. She came to me very high-headed like this, and she would often not even be able to do that. She's doing it because she's discovered that that's the more comfortable way to travel. You can make a horse bend, and when you ride with contact, the whole purpose of the bit is to encourage flexion. But she's discovered self-carriage with that. So that's a huge part of her. And we've done a lot of lateral flexion exercises through freestyle that's helped her with that. But in the end, if she can discover that's the easy way to go, then that's it. So if you noticed when she flattened her body out and went to the outside, sometimes her nose was straight instead of that way. Then what happened? The reins got picked up, didn't they? And that encouraged that bend. And then it let go and she did it. So she discovered it was comfort, and I gave comfort when her nose was bent. So that's the game of it, is for her to decide that. And if she goes flat again, she's going to come off the circle. There's no way, if the circle's nice and curvy like that and she flattens her nose, she's going to come off and something's going to happen. So the only comfort for her was staying in the circle. So excellent question. That was really, really good. Anybody want to ride Peaches? She's fun. She's a fun horse. Any other questions, concerns, comments? Think you can go play this with your horse? Does everybody know the California roll? Because I didn't really talk much about that. That's it's quite simply just taking your reins and bridging them like that, and then holding it there, and that's usually the California roll. And then in this exercise, then we pointed our hand forward like that, and so that has the effect of shortening this rein here. These would be the reins going to your horse. So there's a normal California roll, and then you shorten, and what happens is this inside rein here gets shorter. There was one point, I don't think it was on that video, that I thought, you know what, I think my inside rein might want to be a little shorter, and so I made it shorter to help with what Chaki was saying. I went ahead and shortened my inside rein just a little bit to help that when I lifted, to say, hey, come on, get that nose over. So that's the California roll. And there's lots of cool ways to get to a California roll. You can just do like that and bring your reins together and bridge them. Or you can do it the really cool way, put your thumb in between the two reins, turn your hand over like that, and drop it like that. Okay, and you can hit the replay if you want to see that again, but I'll do it one more time. You put your thumb in between, turn your hand over like that, and just drop them like that. Then you don't get that twist in there. And the other really cool way is when the horse has the side of this, you take one and just throw it over like that. Take one rein and just throw it over the other and hold on like that. California roll. It's not just sushi. All right. Cool. So if there are not any more questions, I'd like to ask Veronica if you wouldn't mind unmuting yourself, Veronica, and say hi to everybody. And Veronica knew I was going to ask. I'm not putting her totally on the spot, because I said, hey, could you join the Zoom and talk a little bit about what happened with your leadership the past day or so, and how that relates to your left brain extrovert horses that we played with, because I was with Valerie the past couple of days.
Yeah, it definitely, so I have two extreme left brain extroverts. One is 13, the other one recently turned 4. And needless to say, with an extreme left brain extrovert, there's a lot of energy coming at you at times, particularly shoulders. And the 13-year-old is one of those that gets a crazy eye and like, I think I want to kill you. So just having Tom with me for these last 2 days with both of them helped me. I was starting to lose my confidence. as one could imagine, because I'm like, I want to survive. And I'm braver around the 13-year-old than I am the 4-year-old because he's mostly Arabian. He's very fast and he loves to bite every chance he gets. So I have a distinct thing of wanting to preserve my my space and my well-being. But we had a couple of moments where I was able to say to Tom, I'm not comfortable doing that, and here's why. And just the patience in helping me get to that next step where I could go, oh, okay, my inner Pat. So that's my new motto. I'm Pat. Here's where we're going. And that helped to calm me. And just the number of the tips and him watching me with the horses and watching the horses. I was very honest about how they behave. And even Tom said, yeah, you told me all about that. It gave me some of my confidence back and is helping me to be more of the leader I need to be for these two boys, because they're a blast. I mean, they're a lot of fun. But now having the tools, like you don't play stick to me at a close proximity with my 13-year-old. You can walk and play stick to me, but if you ask him to trot, it's one of these, and pretty soon it's going to be, I'm going to make you stop because I don't like this. And we got a couple of really nice trots in where I'm alive and it was soft. And it was just amazing to watch the transition, even in the two boys, and going, all right, I kind of like what she's doing here. She's part of the team.
Yeah,
It was amazing.
I really loved the transformation that happened, and we were joking. Veronica and I were joking around. It's all about the shoulders with these two. It's all about the shoulders because they're just so pushy with the shoulders.
Yeah.
But we did a little exercise with your older boy, and
CW.
it was great with that carrot. You know, we took the carrot stick and set the carrot stick right in our hip, and then just walked next to him.
Mm-hmm.
And that guy, he was great because he was like, must push into you, and he had that carrot stick bent all the way like this, and he would not yield. It was great, and I just stood there. I mean, we were walking a circle. I just stood there, and I remember looking over at you saying, if the stick breaks, I'll buy you this.
It was that bent.
And it was perfect setup for that horse, because he needed to make the decision to move those shoulders. And if you make him move the shoulders, like, he would just push him harder.
Yeah.
And so it was fun to watch that. It as an extroverted person, it felt like it took 2 hours, but it really only took about 5 minutes. But 5 minutes is a long time to be having a carrot stick bent like that. With that's a lot of pressure pointed right at your shoulder, buddy.
Yep.
And he just wouldn't yield, and he'd let it go a little and then push it in again, let it go a little, push it in again. And the interesting thing was, he wasn't trying to bite me during that, because he was like, what in the world is happening? Why does this not release? And then when he finally figured out, oh, I just need to like stay out of Tom's bubble with my shoulder. And the nice thing about that little game was we didn't need to do anything. It was just a set it up and let him figure it out kind of deal. Kind of like this circle thing where it's their job to figure out how to be, and then the left brain extrovert just loves that. So I think that was just like a really telling moment about how cool that horse is, and how important it is for him to trust us, to let go. And Veronica and I talked a lot about not just yielding, not just moving your shoulder, but turning loose to the idea of, you don't have to push me with your shoulder. You don't have to be dominant. You can turn loose of that and be safe with us. You know, allow, we got you. You don't need to be the one pushing us. So that was just a huge change for both of your horses on that.
Oh, big time, because they both have shoulder issues.
Well, they're left brain extroverts, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was really neat to see that transformation. And then, I want to highlight what Veronica said about, sometimes when you lose your confidence, it's hard to be the leader you need to be for your horses, because you're not sure what to do. Second, you don't want to get hurt. So the fun, you know, she said, channel your inner Pat Pirelli. And I have a confession to make. We are recording this, right? Great. So my confession is, it's the fake it till you make it thing. And a nicer way to say that is I look at my people that I respect a lot as horsemen and I emulate them. And sometimes when you emulate somebody, you maybe don't quite understand all there is to know about it, but you try to look like them. And I remember Dave Ellis not laughing at me. Everybody else in the room laughed at me, but Dave Ellis, 6-star instructor now, did not laugh at me when I was a level 2 student. He said, "What do you want to learn at this clinic?" I'd gone to a clinic. And I said, I was watching Pat Pirelli and I noticed when he does something, he cues it from his center of his body, it seems like, and it goes right through the stick, right through the horse, down to the horse's feet. And when I do it, I feel like I'm just moving a stick. And I said, so I want to look like Pat Pirelli. Everybody started laughing. I didn't mean it to be funny. And Dave Ellis didn't laugh at all. He just went, cool. That I can help you with. But that's kind of that thing is, you know, sometimes you just need to fake it till you make it a little bit and say, okay, well, I'm going to be the leader. I'm going to be the leader here. And, you know, I'm just going to mimic the Pat Pirelli walk here and I'm going to focus and you're going to follow me.
You said something key, if I could, where you said, you know, the confidence thing and not being that leader. It's also that piece of not wanting to risk teaching them something they don't need to know, especially horses like this, because they pick up on things really, really quickly. And that was in the back of my mind too. I didn't know how to quite correct what I needed to. So you kind of just work with what you have and try not to create any new issues, which you helped me with immensely. And that really helped center me and get me where I needed to be.
Cool. Hasn't everybody hasn't everybody felt that? It's like you get a little stuck, somebody comes in, gives you a little bit more information, you get unstuck and it's like, yeah, let's go. So I remember seeing this on the internet, like the road to excellence doesn't look like this. I wish it did. It looks like this. Because you have these moments where you're just like, oh, I'm so frustrated, this isn't going well. Or then you get that little piece of information that clicks in and go, woohoo, this is great. And then you're here and it's like, this is great. And then the next thing comes up, is like, oh, what is going on? I don't know. Oh, I figured it out. I go here. So but hopefully it's going like this, right? At upward trajectory, right? So don't stay lost long. Get help. That's what I love about the Pirelli program. And obviously I'm a proponent of it, but I love that it's got so much support for you. So between the Savvy Club, between the instructors, between Pat and Linda, the courses, the clinics that we all put together, or just pick up the phone and call me, or take a video lesson, or let's do these Zoom things or whatever. Just don't stay stuck. Excellent. Anybody else have any other questions or anything you want to share?
And study groups.
Study groups, yes. Thank you. Shaki's got a great
all
study
kinds
group.
of stuff. Yeah, we're having a study group in November about bits.
Excellent. And that's there's an event on Facebook for that. And if you can't find it, contact Shaki or contact me. I'll get you hooked up with them. They're in West Milton, Ohio. And then if there's no study group around you, then create one. Get together with some people and watch some videos. It doesn't need to be formal. And it's just a great way to keep like-minded people together, and that works really well. So good. Excellent. And take Pat's virtual class coming up. Pirelli.com for that. Well, that's it. That's all I have. So the next, I'm not going to do one of these in October because Pat's got his virtual thing going on. So there's lots of things on that. So stay tuned to the next one for the next one of these in November. The tentative date I have down is November 12th. And so I think as the weather gets bad, I think we'd like to do some more of these and keep the connections going through the winter. One of the common things people complain about is there's nothing going on in the winter, and Tom and Jesse are rats and they go down to Florida for the winter, and there's no instructors in Ohio anymore because they left. So we won't use that as an excuse. So we'll do some virtual things too. And if you dipping your toe into the idea of taking a virtual lesson, I recommend it. It's great. It's not as good as a live lesson, but there are things that are better on the virtual lesson in that we could go frame by frame like we just did with my video and Shaka's video and say, and look at it that way. Or you can see things that you normally wouldn't see in those regards. And it forces me to present differently too, which I think that's a good thing, to break things up slightly different also on the virtual lessons. So fantastic, everybody. Thank you for being here, and let's keep it natural. Savvy. And then I can hit the button that says stop the recording, and we don't have that awkward pause. Boink.
Thank you.